Hi judges. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the ballot that you're going to use to judge different types of speech and debate at high school tournaments. So sometimes tournaments will be in-house at the practice space, in which case we use just a Google form type of ballot. And sometimes at bigger tournaments, we use a platform called tabroom.com. So I'm going to go over both of those today. But in general, a couple of just overall notes. So when you get a ballot, you are the judge who is responsible for giving feedback in that round. And sometimes, and most typically, you are the only judge in that round. And so when you are a judge, you are going to be taking comments, you're going to be taking notes, and you sometimes are assigned a ballot and sometimes you're not. So if you don't get a ballot, you should just wait around on standby to make sure we don't need any extra judges. Otherwise, you are set for the round and you're just going to wait until we announce the next round. Most typically, we announce the judges about 15 minutes before every round at any kind of tournament. Now we're going to go over what it looks like to judge on a Google form. So when we have a tournament that involves Google form. So I'm here on the screen here, and sometimes we're judging debate and sometimes we're judging speech. So I'm going to go over both of those. So the first is parliamentary debate. And so we see an example ballot here, and the most important thing is that you put all of your feedback on the ballot. Please don't give any oral comments and don't tell them who won. That sets the tournament behind, and also students start to get discouraged if they find out. We want to keep that suspense for them. So don't give them oral comments, just put it all on the ballot. So we have a reference for what parliamentary debate looks like, and there's another video on that. You put down the information of you and your name, the round, and the speakers. This is where you'll say which team won. And then you give the points. So you say how many points would you give them for the overall performance. About 26, we don't usually give below 26 points, but about 26 is that they're just starting out and getting the hang of it. 28 is that they're strong in some areas of delivery and argumentation. 30 points is the best you can get. It's so strong, especially for a beginner, if this is a beginning tournament. And we're looking at a warm-up tournament ballot, which was more of a novice tournament. Then we have the same thing, but for the con team. Then there's a place to give overall comments about argumentation alone. So you give 1 to 2 overall comments about which arguments were the best and most convincing. And then you give 1 specific comment for the pro team and 1 comment to the con team. And you can comment on anything like clarity, logic, support, and all of this is focused on the content, the argumentation. Overall, we also give comments on oral delivery, and that's a little bit more subjective, but this gives you a chance to focus on the use of their voice and their use of their physicality, like gestures and facial expressions. So again, we give 1 to 2 comments on the overall oral delivery, and then we give 1 specific comment for pro and 1 for con. So it's pretty simple. When we have a speech ballot, and it's on Google Forms here, we have a few more people, because in a speech round you have 5 to 7 speeches that you're judging. So you have a few more ballots, and you fill out 1 ballot per student. So again, you put all the basic information. The point structure is a little bit different. So this scale here is through 100 points. And then we give overall comments for the speaker. 1 to 2 overall, and we're really focusing again on a mixture of the content and the delivery, not only the delivery itself. All right, so that's for Google Forms. We use those at the practice space when it's a small tournament. It's pretty light, it's getting novices ready, it's a little bit more practice, and it's a little bit more casual. Now we're going to go over tabroom.com, and that is the platform that we use for more advanced tournaments, bigger tournaments. So tabroom.com is a platform by the National Speech and Debate Association. It's basically all the ways that we register students, but also how judges use ballots and how we get all the information and ballots back to a tournament, back to the students and back to the tournament. Because we sometimes will have as many as 300 people, sometimes over 1,000 people at these tournaments. And that's really hard to do by Google Form and by hand. So the first thing that's most important is that you have a Tabroom account. So if you don't have one, you can go to tabroom.com and click on sign up and enter your information and sign up for an account. Once you have that, in order to access your ballot on the day of the tournament, we release them about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the first round. So you click on your email address up at the top here, and you'll see whether you have a ballot or not. This part will be empty if you don't have a ballot. But otherwise, you can see here what round you're judging, what room you're in, the start time, and sometimes this lists the names or the codes of the different speakers. So you also see the order. And then finally, you want to click Start Round immediately. That allows us to know that you've accepted your ballot and that you're ready to judge. If you don't click Start Round, we will reassign your ballot to another person. And in some tournaments, they will fine you for that. So there'll be a charge. So we want to avoid that, so click Start Round. So you are obligated generally to judge the entire day unless you tell the coach in advance of the tournament, and then that way we can incorporate your schedule into the tournament plan. So what do you do in a round? It's kind of what I described in the opening video, but basically you look to see once you're in the room and you have students there with you, you have about 5 to 7 speech students, so call their name and make sure that everybody's there. Sometimes some students are in multiple rounds of speech, so they're double entered. So if that's the case, we'll usually mark it with an asterisk or a star, and so don't wait for them. Just get started as soon as possible. The worst thing at tournaments is running behind schedule because no one wants to stay forever. So make sure that we start right on time and get that roll call going. Then you watch the speeches in the order on the ballot. And then finally, the ranking. You submit your rankings right away, and I'll show you what that looks like. Don't give any oral feedback, write it all down. So a note on the timing, on the sidebar here, we actually have access to a timer if you want to use that, or you can use your phone or a watch. Don't usually stop a speech if it goes over the time limit, unless it goes way over the time limit, usually by like a minute to 2 minutes over time. So this is how you submit your ballot. So you want to submit your ranks as soon as the round is over because we use that information to pair students in future rounds with other students who are doing similarly to them. It's known as power matching. And so we want to actually submit our ballots. And so you put all of your rankings in this column here, and then you click Submit Ballot immediately. First place is the best, and there are no ties except for last place. Last place is 5th. And then you click Confirm, and then it'll be your rankings are submitted. Now, don't worry, you still have places to submit your feedback. So please don't submit a blank ballot. That's unacceptable. We want to make sure that we have the feedback to students so that they can improve. So there's this little drop-down menu here that says comments go to everyone. Here I like to write maybe 2 to 3 bullets about what informed my decision. So if I really loved all of the speeches that included as much evidence as possible, I would write that here. So that's overall to everyone. When you click on the drop down, you are able to then see all of the individual comments for the different speeches. And that's where you can leave, again, between 1 and 3 bullet points about what they did well and the next area of improvement. So again, if you want to go back and you want to edit feedback, you can click here on the side, the right panel, on Current Ballots and Panels, and it'll show you all of your past ballots, and you can click Edit Feedback. You can usually edit feedback until the end of the tournament, but once we hit our awards ceremony, the tournament could close at any time in the Tab Room account, and so then you won't be able to submit comments anymore, so make sure you submit it by the awards ceremony. And that is all for ballots, and I am just really grateful to you for putting in as much feedback as you can, but also supporting our tournaments and keeping them running on time.